Es weiß und rät es doch keiner, wie mir so wohl ist, so wohl. Ach, wüsst es nur einer, kein Mensch es sonst wissen sollt.
Okay, everyone, I'm super excited because today I get to talk to the fabulous tenor, Kyle Stegall. And I really miss Kyle, and I'm so glad to see you here in front of me in your what looks like a really nice music room. I'm assuming
Yeah,
that's where you practice.
yeah. So this is I'm in our home studio right now. We have a little house on a big plot of land, and our guest room doubles as our practice space.
Okay, so what city are you in? What university are you teaching at, and how does that look now that we're all sheltered in place here?
Yeah. So this is my first year teaching at the University of Missouri, Mizzou, and I left my previous institution for this one because I am just so thrilled to join an excited faculty and a really wonderful program that's just been, you know, around for so long. And this program also happens to be my alma mater. I got my undergrad at the University of Missouri before going to Michigan, then Yale. And so I was just thrilled to get the opportunity to join them.
And then also for you, like you've probably had a lot of canceled concerts and things, and
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of us have. It's no one escaped that.
and I've heard something, I don't know if it's true specifically about singers, but I think it's sort of true for all of us, that when people weren't flying all over the world, somebody would have to take a boat like from Europe to New York to work on their opera there or to give
Hmm.
a concert there. So there wasn't this kind of like get on a plane, get off a plane, get your Uber to the rehearsal, then stand up and sing kind of thing. Um, is that something that I don't know? Like, did we just need a little more space between things anyway? Is there any of that you're feeling now, or?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of my career is recitals and concert work. I do about two operas a season, but most of it are things where it is it has become the norm for me to fly in the day of the first rehearsal, like as you said, you know, be in some new time zone, get in a taxi, get to a rehearsal, and almost, I mean, I'd say about half the time, walk straight from the taxi into a rehearsal. Um, and so that definitely that definitely disturbs the artistic process. Um, uh, and you find yourself standing getting ready to do a performance, or getting ready for that first rehearsal, and you always take this big breath because you've just been across the world this morning, and then now here we are getting ready to try and crystallize a moment. um, and so yeah, I think this is a bit of an extreme slowing down, um, but maybe one that we can find some good in.
So we called these interviews Fermata Fridays because the idea of like a fermata in music is I don't know, it sort of felt like that, like everything suddenly stopped and we didn't really know that was going to happen to this extent, and we didn't know what was going to happen after. So I don't know if you want to comment on that at all in that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a subito formata, right? Um, and I think it's important for us to keep in mind that fermatas are just as often written over a rest as they are over a chord. There's we're chugging along, and then we reach a pinnacle moment, and sometimes we hold and extend that moment for emotional or artistic expression. But then sometimes the most important parts of music are in those moments of silence. the silence sort of frames the the overt expression. And this is that. This is a moment for us to really breathe in the stillness. I think, you know, in a way, we as artists are well prepared for this moment. We're not prepared, you know, we could never be prepared financially for all of our gigs for the next 5 months being canceled. That puts us in a really difficult position. And it's, you know, the anxiety of that tries to enter our mental space all the time. However, we as artists are quite used to taking the moment for what it is, being present in whatever moment, and sort of drawing art out of the unique qualities of that moment. This has been a wonderful time for me. Like I said, I'm not preparing for the next gig right now. My practice every day is I actually kind of get to listen to my heart and say, what do I need, and how can I give to my art, and how can I get from my art? And it's been, I can't think of a time in the past decade that I've been able to start my practices and not have, you know, a specific piece of music that I needed to develop during that. I can do warm-ups, and I can stretch more, and I can meditate more, and it's been unique in that way.
Yeah, and you're looking really good too. I can tell you've been stretching and meditating.
Hey, thanks.
It shows. So now you've chosen a couple things to share with us to watch and listen to. Can you tell us a little bit about the first video that you were going to share?
Well, yeah, so the last performance I was part of before the world got shut down was a really wonderful opportunity to perform Beethoven's only oratorio, Christus am Ölberge, Christ on the Mount of Olives. And I cannot believe it is my first time performing it, and I desperately hope that it is not my last, because it was just really an exciting project. You know, it's this oratorio based on the passion story of Christ, and I sing evangelists frequently, so I'm oftentimes finding myself in the position of the narrator. But in this one, the tenor is Christus, is Christ, and it starts with this really emotionally charged and distraught prayer. Right, this is what happened on the Mount of Olives. This prayer of Christ, and this is how the whole oratorio begins. You're right there in the middle of not necessarily just the chaos of the story, but in the chaos of Christ's emotions, his very human experience of desperation.
schon, noch ehe die Welt auf dein Geheiß aus sich entwandt. Der Menschen sie und ein Gericht jetzt stellen will.
It's just that segment, and Beethoven develops it so brilliantly and with great orchestration. And the other character is an angel, you know. It's this feeling of what is prayer? Who do we talk to?
Where was that performance?
University of California, Davis.
Okay.
With Maestro Christian Baldini. Just a really a go-getter program, you know. They have no fear there, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I know Christian. He is totally fearless.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to remember, Kyle, how long have you been coming to Valley of the Moon Music Festival, and when did you first start singing with a forte piano? And I know that was Eric who was playing at that time.
Yeah, I mean, help me remember, Tanya. I feel like if I wasn't there for the first season, I was certainly there the second.
Yeah, I feel like you were there for the first season.
Okay, cool. So that was definitely my first time working with forte piano, and immediately that artistic relationship with Eric was so interesting and so provocative and inspiring. So we haven't stopped.
I feel like you and Eric together, your voice with that piano is so remarkable. Like, I think of all the singers I know, you've used it so beautifully in terms of sculpting your sound to that sound and really exploring everything that can be done that way.
Absolutely. And this marriage of Eric's artistic impulse to the sound of that instrument and the sound palette of that instrument is thrilling.
So I think Eric is trying to come in now. Let me turn on my text just in case he can't do it.
Hi, Eric.
Is he there?
I see him.
You do? Hold on.
Yeah. Hi, Kyle.
Oh, there
Hey.
you are. Okay, great. So, hi, Eric.
Hi.
So just so people know, I'm upstairs. Eric is downstairs. He's been furiously practicing his Beethoven sonatas, and we'll talk to him more about that later. But right now, because we have Kyle here, first of all, I just want to congratulate you guys. Your Myrtle and Rose recording of Schumann is amazing, and you can talk about that recording more. But it did get voted top 10 of EuroDisc, which is incredible and well-deserved. I think people are really loving it. So I just thought maybe you two could talk a little bit about what your process is like.
There's a lot that goes on in our time once we get together. It's just constant discussion, constant sort of swimming between ideas. But a lot goes on before we ever get together too. Eric and I have taken to sometimes texting each other ideas before we ever get together to work, because we'll be exploring the score and see something that we really hope is possible, and then, but yeah, I mean, lots of translation, lots of exploring the score, which Eric has been incredible with from the very beginning. He's so, sorry, Eric, it's weird to talk about you while you're right here, but he's an inspiring interpreter of the score. He just, absolutely everything there matters. Everything there has real meaning for him, and it's cool to work with a partner that holds us accountable in that way.
Right, and Kyle is just so great at the words, just the pronunciation of the words and the meaning of the words and how that affects how everything should go. So I guess we kind of put those things together. I mean, obviously I study the words too before we ever meet and think about them, but in terms of the character of the words, just as how they sound, as well as the meaning and what we do about that, there's a lot to talk about, and how to put those things together, what the music is saying all by itself, what the words are saying all by themselves, and how those two things go together to make a whole is what we really think about, intuit to some extent, and then also discuss, and it's a great process. And
I think, as Eric I think was sort of saying, I think we bring different tools to the rehearsal process, and to the exploration process. But I don't think either of us has more responsibility in one way or the other. So many times I have been surprised and inspired by just a different interpretation of the music and the words than I had anticipated with Eric. So I've given up anticipating, what exactly is going to happen. We don't discuss tempo before we get together. We don't discuss phrasing before we get together. We make music and then sort of evolve.
Well, I really can't wait for the time when we're all together again. And also, I've really enjoyed hearing you guys rehearsing in our house. I've just caught snippets of that process, and it seems really special, and certainly the result always is. So I can't wait for that to happen again too. And Kyle, thank you so much. It's great to see you, and big hugs to Holly, and enjoy this time, and good luck with your teaching.
Thank you so much.
So still ist's nicht draußen im Schnee, so stumm und verschwiegen sind die Sterne nicht in der Höhe, als meine Gedanken sehen.